What will you regret the least when you get into bed tonight? This is one of the questions I've been asking myself as a founder struggling to balance work and life, and it has really helped me this week. And I wanted to share a little bit of my vision on how to navigate these hard choices we're presented with in life, oftentimes. You see, us founders, entrepreneurs, anyone out there trying to build a project or build a business, I think we're often presented with hard choices in life, and we usually struggle a lot with choosing work and choosing to spend time with people, choosing when to push harder on a project and spend more time and energy, or just living life a little bit more and enjoying some plans with friends or with family. And we usually live with this feeling of guilt. Guilt, no matter we choose to spend time with people, and then we feel guilty because we're not working more and we're not making progress and everyone else is doing more than us. And we also feel guilty when we actually choose to keep working and we're missing that time with our loved ones because we're not present with them. We're not taking advantage of life and we're missing out on so much stuff. And it's very hard sometimes for us to choose any of those two options. And this is why asking myself, what's the thing I will regret the least when I get into bed, has really helped me. So I want to share a little bit of the vision. And if you are also a founder or a business or an entrepreneur, and you have some of the thoughts on how you usually try and navigate this, I would love you to go and comment down below. I think we can generate a bit of a debate and hopefully all learn from each other and get some tips on this as well. Last weekend, we celebrated one of the best parties of all year here at our town, if not the best. It's a party that usually goes through Friday till Saturday. And so we stay up until very late at night, probably like 5, 6 a.m. It's a weekend we spend all together with our friends. And it's a beautiful weekend. We have so much fun together and we even party a little bit. And while I love doing this, oftentimes what I'm finding myself lately is that as I'm trying to build this business and as I'm trying to really lock in and get my routine ready and get as much progress as I can get and get all the juice and all the energy out from my brain as I can, it's very difficult for me to deviate my routine a little bit. And whenever I kind of change things up and I go out one day, it's very difficult for me to go back to my sleeping schedule, to my exercise routine, and I just start skipping many things. And I start getting into this loop of bad habits where it's very difficult for me to get back into getting locked in and getting into work. So what happened was, it was a great weekend and I had already the following week planned. So we spent a crazy good Friday and Saturday. Sunday was kind of off. I felt really bad and this feeling of guilt of not having done anything during the weekend. But, I had my Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I had the rest of the week planned. So it was all good. I just had to recover a little bit. And I knew I would have a little bit of a sleeping crash on Monday because I had just gone to sleep so late on Saturday, but I would get those things fixed. But then it hit me, my best friend actually told me, hey, do you want to come to the beach with me and my girlfriend and a friend of hers? And so we spend all the day there and, we go and go on a little bit of a kayak. We go and swim a little bit on the beach and have a nice day. You bring your Tupperware and we eat there and we have a nice beach day. And this is when it clicked. My initial reaction was feeling very guilty and declining the invitation. I initially thought I felt so bad because I had already spent the weekend out, not making any progress, not working. And my whole week was already planned ahead of time. I thought if I'm not going to work on Monday and I have a shooting on Wednesday and Thursday, I'm not going to be able to do X, Y, Z. And I'm not even going to be able to do it on next weekend because I've already got some family plans. So my initial reaction was say no to it. And I was just looking at the week ahead and just feeling bad because I would be losing out on putting in 6, 8, 10 hours on Monday. But then, the second layer of the thinking was, okay, this is one of the chances that doesn't happen that often. Yes, I can go to the beach with my best friend any day of the week if I want to, probably. But, his girlfriend was there a friend of hers was there as well. And I just thought this is one of those chances that probably happen once or twice a year. And if my best friend asked me to go there and they want me to be there, it's for a reason. And so this is when I actually ask myself this question: what will I regret least tomorrow night when I get into bed? Having not gone to the beach or having not worked the whole day? When I asked myself this question, I immediately knew what I wanted to do. I immediately knew that, the important thing in life was not that I put in that day of work on Monday. And it's the bad and it's the good thing about being an entrepreneur. If you're working in another business, you'll have to take a day off or something, ask for holidays and spend one of those days. But if you're an entrepreneur, you can pretty much do it whenever you want. Of course, it's going to be on you. Of course, you'll have the responsibility that if you're pretty much not putting active time on it, you're not making too much progress probably, but you still get to decide when you want to do it. And I think it's also the beauty of it. Again, when I asked myself this question, I immediately knew that the thing I would regret the most was not spending the day with them, because it was kind of one of those things that don't happen often. And I eventually went there, and the day was amazing, and I had so much fun. And because I was so sure about the choice I had made, I knew that that was the least regret I would have by the end of the day. I was even able, I think, to enjoy it a lot more than I would have ever enjoyed it, right? Just because I was so clear on that thinking and on that choice. I didn't go there forced or feeling obligated. I went there because I genuinely chose, and I knew that that was the best choice I could have made. And I went there with the intention to have fun and to spend the day with them and feeling fully present without my head being at work while my body was with them at the beach. And I think by just asking yourself this conscious question sometimes and being sure about what it is that you're choosing and knowing what you really want in life is when you get the most out of it, and you can really take that juice and be more present, have a lot more fun, and just be there with them. So a huge lesson that I take from last week is to choose very wisely what's important to us and live a life of no regrets. It's no news that some of the happiest people on earth, towards the end of their lives, something they really have in common is that they've pretty much lived a life with no regrets. I think for us, business owners, entrepreneurs, solo founders, it's very difficult to choose between life and work. I don't love this concept of work-life balance. And indeed, I think that finding perfect balance is very difficult. It's a concept I read in The One Thing by Gary Keller, and I love how he explained this act of counterbalancing. A way I love to think about it is we all get to play with the same amount of tokens. You can think of tokens as time, or you can think of them as effort or energy. But let's say these tokens are 1 hour each. We all get to play with 24 tokens every single day. Now, I think here is when it gets very important to, again, choose what we truly value. So for me, for example, I might really value sleeping really well, getting a really good rest. And so I know I want to sleep 8 hours. So for me, I'm going to go and spend 8 tokens every day on those 8 hours of sleep. So from those 24 tokens, we're already going down to 16. Now, work is also important. And as much as we probably all would love not to need to work to make a living, the truth is we need to do something to generate money and to sustain ourselves. So let's say on average we spend 8 to 9 hours at work. So from those 16 tokens, we're already going down to 7. Now let's say I have to prep breakfast, I have to cook some lunch or some dinner, and I also have to eat. So let's say I spend an average of 2 hours on that. That brings that from 7 tokens to 5 tokens. I want to exercise for maybe 1 to 2 hours, so I probably go down to 3 or 4 tokens. And now with those 3 or 4 tokens, I can do other things. You might really value learning to play the piano, so you might want to spend 2 tokens on that every day or a few days of the week. Or I might really value watching a movie every day, spending time with their children, spending time with their friends, going out and doing a walk at nature. And however, most of us spend 2, 3, or even 4 or 5 tokens each day on our screens, and then wonder why the day went by so quickly and we got nothing done, and we feel empty inside, and we feel like we didn't really take advantage of the day, we didn't spend that much time with our loved ones, and we didn't fully take the most out of what the day offered. And it again all comes down to not really knowing what it is that we truly value. I still struggle a lot with this myself. I don't have everything figured out. In fact, I'm still learning a lot every day, to discovering more about myself and what it is that I truly value. And I think the more I find out about what I truly want without thinking of what other people do, about what other people purchase, what they spend their time with, and I start looking more into myself, what it is that truly gives me energy, that truly excites me, not just what other people are doing or saying or not doing. The more I start to have fun and connect a lot more with my people around me and with myself. So that was it from me. Hopefully you can go and leave your comment down below. I would love to know how you navigate these choices and these difficulties as a founder, as a business owner, as an entrepreneur. And so if next time you're stuck in a difficult choice and you don't know what to choose, try asking yourself, what's the one thing you'll regret the least when you get to bed tonight? See ya.